Guys, we depend on GPS with our phones. You know, they're handy, they're with us all the time, and so it makes it really easy to be able to get from point A to point B and not really even think about it. I'll tell you guys, I was traveling down to Atlanta, Georgia, which is a couple hours south of me, and there was one place that I was always going to. I went there a number of times, but I always used my GPS. One day, I forgot my phone. And I'll tell you, I had a hard time remembering how to get there. And I'd been there probably 10 times. You know, going back to those old ways, not necessarily the map, but guys, I'll tell you, map's really important. I did a video just recently about a real life example that where my GPS told me to go one way, and then when I got out kind of in a distance, my GPS went out. And I'll tell you, if I hadn't had a map in my vehicle, I would still probably be out there. So we're going to talk about different things, not just always depending on the phone, but some different ways just to make sure you have some backups, and if nothing else, having a good map. Of course, we've gotten very dependent on the phones like we've talked about, and you know, it's really convenient, it's easy to use, and I would say use your phone for your GPS. It's excellent, but don't be totally dependent, and that's really what this is about. Of course, you know, the old GPS like this, TomTom, this is something that I had years ago and used it, and it got me where I was going. I love having the GPS capability. I mean, one thing about it is that the government owns the global positioning system, and it's actually a military owned by I believe it's the U.S. Air Force actually controls it. And the U.S. government, though, allows for people to have access to it, which makes it really great. And it gives us a lot of advantages. But there's also other things, just like this handheld GPS. And this is more of a, you know, if you're going hiking, you're going on trails, this is excellent to have, to keep with you. And there are a number of different types. This Garmin's just excellent, though, you know, for all the reviews that I've seen. And that's one reason why I purchased it. I have this Sootch watch, which also has GPS on it. In fact, I haven't worn it lately, and the battery's dead. But that's one thing, too, to consider, is that you've got battery capability. I mean, here's a two-way radio. You've got ham radios. You've got other things that you can get out of tough situations. Of course, this doesn't have GPS, nor does ham. But at least, if your phone goes out, having some backups is really key to being able to get out of a bad situation. Now, OnStar, of course, if you know, it's a subscription in your car for newer model cars, that is a great way to go as well. And there's a lot of cool things you can do. But if you get outside of your car, then you're limited to your car. Of course, satellite phones, those are great. And you know, some of them can be very expensive, but it's definitely an option. And there are others. And if you have other ideas, leave them down below in the comments, because it's always important for us to have dialogues down there about some of these things. And I don't always think of everything. But this is really what I want to talk about the most, because in a grid down situation, you can possibly not have this kind of communication. I mean, even your cell phone in a natural disaster like the hurricanes we've just had. There may be so many people calling in to an area that your cell phone is pretty much useless because you can't even get signal, or, you know, for whatever reason with the storm and things like that. So, you know, natural disasters, grid down situations where your batteries are run out, you don't have electrical service, maybe you are out somewhere and, you know, things just die. Of course, having battery backups is important with these. But the big thing I really want to kind of have a takeaway here is your maps. Now, these are all area maps for where I live in South Carolina. And so, you know, I have the southeastern United States, which that is what I keep in my go bag in my car at all times. It stays in there. And then I just have some other, here's South Carolina road map. Here's a North and South Carolina, because I travel to North Carolina a lot. And then I have a laminated map. And this is really what I need for my vehicle. Of course, the other day when I got lost, I was in Charlotte, and I was going from Charlotte. Typically, I was on the east side of Charlotte, and so when I came in from the west, but then when it sent me out, it sent me to the east. And so out in that area is just a lot of open road. And really, I mean, it was kind of sketchy. My GPS wasn't working on my phone. It was hanging up. It was lagging. And then my battery started going dead, and I didn't have my charger in the car. Now, obviously, you can prepare for all those different things, but having this map actually saved my bacon. or at least it shaved off a lot of time where I could have gotten even more lost. Was it a life and death situation? No, I could have found my way out. But the thing is these make your life so much better. Now here I have an atlas, road atlas. And so, you know, you have all the different areas, and to me, this is what would be more important than even a local map, because I do travel around to different areas. So, you know, one of the things I did was went out and bought North and South Carolina maps for all my family. And so I give each one of them, they keep them in their cars, and they have them. And so, you know, the other thing is that's about maps that I want to point out is that, you know, you may not be able to find maps. They're getting harder to find. But you can get them online. I think maps.com is one place that I just happened to find. These maps I bought actually at a local gas station. It was right on the highway, the freeway, and so they had all these different maps. They had others too, and that's the reason why I bought different ones, mainly just to kind of show you guys. But, you know, there are maps available. If you go into like Walmart and some places like that, you may be able to find an atlas, but they're getting harder and harder to find. My daughter, in fact, just bought a map she rides horses. And so she bought a map for the county that she rides her horse in. And sometimes she's out and about, and she got that on Amazon. So that's also a great place. Speaking of maps, one thing that I do want to mention is AAA. It's great, of course, if you break down on the side of the road. And AAA, I don't have any affiliation with AAA. But they do give free maps with their service. You can go to MapQuest, you can go to Google Maps. And before you get ready to take a trip, you can print out a map. And that would probably be a great way to go. But, you know, planning your trip out, thinking it ahead of time, and then go ahead and use your GPS. But if something happens, you're able to step back and you've got a backup. And guys, that's what it's about, you know, having those backups, especially in things that are critical. So guys, just don't get super dependent on your phone. Have backups. Definitely have maps. They are a cheap option. I think these are $6 or $7 a piece, and learn how to read them. Having a good compass is also important, especially with maps, because you can kind of triangulate where you are, knowing how to use your compass, which would be really smart to do, and you know, just learn. And that's what it's about. Guys, the day we stop learning is the day we start dying, so make sure that you continue to learn. But I just wanted to kind of bring this about because a lot of times we don't think about things. But once I fell into a real situation where a map actually got me out, you know, bad decisions on my part, this really saved the day. And so guys, I just highly encourage you, grab yourself a map. Using these other things, we definitely want to use technology where we can. Until a grid down situation happens, then you're good to go. So guys, really putting in some good maps is just a smart move. They're not very expensive. I bought 6 maps for my different members of my family, and of course you can expand that out. And of course, again, MapQuest, Google Maps, I mean, there's so many things you can do. So don't just rely on your phone, because guys, this can have some issues. Even if you just dropped it in the water and the phone went out, you need to be able to have a way to get where you're going. But if the grid goes down, these maps, this is what you need. And guys, if you're serious about survival and prepping, check out Survival Dispatch Insider. It is the best resource on the web for prepping. I have exclusive video content that I upload there once a week. So check it out. I have a link down below in the description. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. I love having the GPS, but then also they have this Sootch phone. I mean, and guys, just to kind of, and this has GPS. It works fine. Oops. So don't depend on your toys. Get a real map and don't get lost.